And today I will be talking about the Midnight Library that I'm going to put. I meant the humans. I kept messing them up like was talking about both of them. I meant the human. The cover of around here, assuming I figure out how to edit. Who knows? So, Midnight Library is a book by Matt Haig, and I decided to read it because about 2 years ago, I was hiking Angel's Landing and I listened to the Midnight Library, which is also by Matt Haig, as an audiobook, and I really enjoyed it, and it was really profound to me. And it's one of my favorite books actually, and it's really always stuck with me. And I was scrolling through my Kindle Unlimited the other day, and I was like, "The Humans" by Matt Haig. I was like, "That's the dude that wrote the Midnight Library." Went, maybe it'll be as good. And it was sort of. It took a while for it to get to the profoundness that I felt the Midnight Library was. Can can you not do this computer for long? Okay, great. That I felt the Midnight Library was, and in all reality, I really shouldn't be comparing the two. I really should just be like similar author style, but I couldn't help but compare, which probably gave the book a little bit of a downfall. But it's a really interesting concept. The whole concept is that there is this professor, Andrew Martin, and he has solved a complex math equation. One of those math equations that you hear about all the time. It's like, oh, nobody's ever solved this, yada yada. And he solved one of them about prime numbers, and there's this super advanced alien civilization light years away, and they're like, the humans cannot know the answer to this equation, or else bad things will happen. They're not ready for this amount of modernization is the wrong word, but they're not ready advancement. They're not ready for this advancement yet. So they send this alien guy to take the place of Andrew Martin and kill everybody that knew about it and to destroy the evidence. Which you're like, okay, okay, prime numbers, I guess. But I thought it was an interesting concept, based on the first interaction that we really get with the alien. I'm just gonna call him the alien because he never gets a name. He goes by Andrew Martin, but I'm gonna call him an alien. I'm gonna call him an alien. And he is transported to Earth with no clothes. No clothes. So he's running around like naked. And obviously we know that that's a bad thing. He doesn't know that that's a bad thing. So it's kind of just a lot of like irony too. Like the audience is like, oh, this isn't you shouldn't be doing this, but we kind of have to watch him figure it out, and we have to watch him figure out how to quote unquote become a human, or at least blend in enough. I don't really ever think that he is successful at blending in because he's an odd duck. He's an odd duck, but it sort of happens. And it was a really slow start. It introduced the concept, but then it was a super slow start to get the ball rolling, to get the ball rolling. And once we kind of figure out like what he's there for, and we see the mission, and we see the real, and we see stuff happening, we're like, oh, okay, okay. But I still felt that it was a super slow book. I felt that it was super slow and didn't get nearly as profound or wrap the story up till like the last 10% of the book. Like I don't know page wise because I was reading it as an ebook, but like the last 10%. And um the whole thing that we can see is as he learns to be with the humans and blend in, he's becoming more human-like, unlike how he should be. He's feeling emotions. He's feeling pain. He is understanding why humans are the way that they are. And that's not supposed to happen. That's not good. That's not good. And there are some profound things that are said, some really like touching things, at least to me, that stood out kind of when he listens like to music for one of the first times, and then he's like, oh, I see why people can just like sit and listen to music. He he made it sound so cool. So cool to listen to music and read poetry and love animals, such as the dog Newman. He made it sound so cool. But really what I found most like probably my favorite chapter in the book was when he gives advice to Gulliver, Gulliver, which is Andrew Martin's son. And I highlighted a few of them. Highlighted a few of them to read to you. Great if I just had it open. Because he gives him a whole chapter of advice because eventually it is needed that Gulliver needs advice. I'm trying not to spoil it for you guys, while also giving you the lowdown. Makes sense. But I'll just read a few from his list. Don't worry about your abilities. You have the ability to love. That is enough. Laugh. It suits you. You shouldn't have been born. Your existence is as close to impossible as can be. To dismiss the impossible is to dismiss yourself. Your life will have 30,000 days in it. Make sure you remember some of them. Read poetry, especially poetry by Emily Dickinson. It might save you. Anne Sexton knows the mind, Walt Whitman knows grass, but Emily Dickinson knows everything. Happiness is not out here, it is in there. If there is a sunset, stop and look at it. Knowledge is finite. Wonder is infinite. You have the power to stop time. You do it by kissing or listening to music. Music, by the way, is how you see things you can't otherwise see. It's the most advanced thing you have. It is a superpower. Keep up with the bass guitar, you're good at it. Join a band. And like just more like that. Like it was by far my favorite chapter. Was it because I was reading it at midnight and I am much more emotionally susceptible when it is later? Perhaps, perhaps. Well, that's okay. That's okay. Let's see. What else? I also loved the way that he described being human, like what it is to be human. He I don't know. He just described it in such a beautiful way that I haven't really ever like heard it described before, as if looking in and learning about it, which he was. He was an alien looking in, learning about it. But I I just I love the way that Matt Haig describes things. I will be reading more of his books because I did enjoy this one and the Midnight Library. So I will be reading more of those in the future. And I just like it's great. To sum it up, it's great. Hopefully I will get better at these book reviews. Um wait, and as I do more later, we'll be watching some to figure out how to properly tell things. But yeah, that's really all that I have in my notebook. It's my thought for you. But yeah, highly recommend. I give it 4 out of 5 stars just because it was such a slow start, but I loved it so much at the end. But yeah. Woo-hoo.